Good evening, everyone. We'll call the Board of Adjustment meeting of July 15th to order. 6:30, 45 seconds? Okay. If we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Ms. Hill, would you lead us? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, may we have roll call, please?
That's right, knock them down.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes, here.
I know.
Mr. McDermott, Ms. Joseph, Ms. McGlure Fenelon, Ms. Bull, and Ms. Hill.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Mr. LeBron, would you make the announcement to our audience? I caught you off guard.
It's been that long.
I know.
Good evening, everybody. Please keep in mind those are all quasi-judicial items, which may either be approved, denied, or approved with conditions. When the petition is announced, the applicant shall approach the microphone and state his or her name and address for the record. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate your interest to address the board when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for anyone to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and city staff have made their presentations on each item. Please speak directly into the mic and state your name and address for the record and your comments to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. And being that it's quasi-judicial, our attorney will administer the oath.
Just in the nick of time. Anyone desiring to speak this evening on any one of the matters, please stand and raise your right hand. On any one of the matters, if you desire to speak, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay. May we have approval of the March 18th as well as May 20th meeting?
Second.
Moved by Mr. McDermott and seconded by Ms. Cohen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any communications? No? Yes? No? Okay.
I'm sorry. We do have, I know you guys have not been involved in the update of the comprehensive plan. And Ms. Hill has been very, active in that. I know usually the Board of Adjustment is not invited to those meetings because this is more like a planning commission function. But we do have that meeting coming to the planning, that item going to the planning commission on August 4th. And if one of you can attend, and also, because you deal with those policies at some level, because, that would affect, the LDR, which is the Land Development Regulation, that's at some point, and which would you have to deal with. So if you can attend, that would be on August 4th at 7 for Planning Commission.
That's the same date as the Night Out Against Crime, Michael? Yeah.
And I'm not even going to be in the country.
I'm not going to be here.
No, just if you could attend, but.
I really wish I could.
But that would still have to go to the to the city council after that.
Still going to require, so you'll have another opportunity to attend, but you'll be attending at the level of the city council.
City
Okay,
council.
fine.
Thank you. All right. First continued case is the applicant. Are we still taking it out of order? Okay,
No,
that's fine. Thank you. V-7-15, Cesar Borja, I want to say, 1890 Northeast 146th Street.
This is a special exception use that has been filed by this applicant to establish a outdoor soccer facility on that location that you just mentioned, Ms. Chair, 1890 Northeast 146th Street. Under the table of uses permitted in the LDR, any type of outdoor entertainment or recreation requires special exception approval, even in the M1 district. which is the industrial district where the property is located at. And this is a vacant land right now, which the applicant, Cesar Borja of Soccer Planet USA, which is present here, is under contract to lease that site with the intent of developing that with a proposed soccer facility. That would have 3 soccer fields with bleachers or kids playground and recreational AC space with lockers, bar, kitchen, and entertainment lounge. Staff have reviewed this application on the criteria set forth in the zoning code, which is the LDR. And our recommendation is to approve, as the application has met all, if not all of the criteria listed on the Article 3, Division 5, Section 3-504 of the LDR. Additionally, there was a property owner who came at the last meeting, because when that item was tabled, he really not opposing the item, but he had some concerns. He has after the meeting, he has sent us an email which is attached to this report. And basically, in some of the recommendations he made in that letter, it were included, as a condition that we had on the special event permit in that staff report. Not only would that require a site plan approval, which we go to DRC to make sure all the concurrency requirements are met, but now we also add that, after taking into consideration the concern that Mr. Mark Napolitano had. So we include a special event permit requirement also, which states that a special event permit be obtained from the city's Park and Recreation Department every time the facility hosts a major tournament to provide for crowd, traffic, and other public safety concerns, to the hiring of off-duty police officers from the North Miami Police Department. Said permit to ultimately ensure that the proposed soccer facility does not create any liability to and does not become a nuisance to the owners, tenants, and users of the surrounding properties. So those are the conditions we have attached, and we feel comfortable moving with our recommendation for approval with this item. Thank you.
And applicant is like to add to your request. I don't think it's on. Okay.
Hello. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time. My name is Cesar Borja. I live in 3131 Northeast, 188th Street. And I'm here to present our project to the city. I've been in business into the soccer facilities for 5 years now in Miami. I've been here for 13 years, living in Miami, but with the soccer facilities 5 years. I think we find the exceptionally location to grow our business, and to bring a healthy space and an enjoyable place to the people that likes the sports and to like to do outdoors activities. So I'm here to answer any questions or any doubts or anything that you may have.
Thank you.
I would like for the gentleman behind you to step up and identify himself.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
My name is David Reamer, 18001 Collins Avenue, 31st floor, Sunny Isles, Florida. I am general counsel for the property owner.
Okay.
And if I may just add one thing to Mr.
Absolutely.
add one thing to Mr. Borja's comments. This property is contiguous to the Miami Auto Museum. So in the sense of it being a place of public accommodation and appearing there, it is right next, within that same district, right next to the Miami Auto Museum. So you have an entertainment type area position there. So it's not going to be a completely different out-of-place use.
Okay. And excuse me, sir, but for the record, you are counsel for the property owner, Fountainhead?
Yes.
Okay. Fountainhead Subparcel 1 LLC.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. The reason I ask these questions is because this gentleman came before you in May, and we were lacking the power of attorney, if you recall. So,
And I have a power of attorney, if you'd like it for the record. I do have a power of attorney confirming that I have
okay.
authority
Thank you
to
so
speak for
much
the owner.
for verifying the consent of the property owner. Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. Were you done with your presentation, Mr. Borja?
Yes, I'm ready for any questions that you may have. So.
All right. Well, before I do that, I have to open public hearing. Anyone for or against this particular item? Now is your time. Okay. None? Board
Any questions?
questions?
Can you just give us a quick description of what you envision this to look like?
Okay, yes, of course. What we do is, first we build a facility, that he has the, the best materials available, regarding the turf. So, people who like really to play soccer and play the sport, they feel very comfortable with it. So we put, the best quality that it's on the market at the moment. We try to have a, a very enjoyable area, for the people. It's a family into as well. We're planning to do, to bring families, kids, parents playing sports, a lot of entertainment, family focus. Also, we have the leagues that, all the amateur players like myself, I'm not very young anymore, but I like to play the sport. So, we have a good time. Soccer has been, in my family for many, many years, and this is what we love to do, to bring entertainment.
Will it be functioning daily,
Yes.
weekends?
Every day. Normally, my hours of operations, it starts depend on the Kids Academy. Normally between, 6, 4, 5, depends on what programs are we developing at the moment. And it depends on the people, what time they finish the games. It's a very friendly, environment. They just go play soccer, talk about the games. The idea is to have a nice place so they can gather, like a lounge, so they can watch the games. They can talk about it. We record some of the games that they play, so they can review after, and they can, talk about the games. This is what David is handling is a layout more or less of the site.
This is the auto museum here, and this would be the portion that would be for the, you can see it, this would be the portion of the.
I'm sorry, sir, can you speak into the mic?
Into the mic.
Proceedings are being recorded, thank you.
So this is the auto museum here. This is the contiguous property, and you can see that he has 3 soccer fields. These are smaller soccer fields. These are not what you think of as a full-size field. These are for smaller, almost training and
It's like
smaller.
7 against 7. Seven
So
against
these are not regulation size fields?
No.
And then here there'll be like a clubhouse type of thing where there'll be check-in and facilities for the players.
Got it.
So you envision a lot of soccer programs for youth and weekdays, weekends, and then in your lounge facility, will you be serving alcohol or?
Yes, we envision to have like a youth programs for the kids, and actually we're trying to develop a new program for competition in the youth. So there's a lot of recreational things, but we are also wanted to bring some programs more like specialized, for growth.
But no, there won't be alcohol.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
This is not going to be. In fact, there'll be no food concession in there. He'll just have
Ah.
On the
drinks.
mic, on
Oh,
the mic.
it said there was a bar in there.
Yeah.
Oh well, like juice bar or something
Just, yeah.
like drinks like Gatorades or
Okay.
waters or
No,
something
there
like
won't be a food concession. There'll simply be just water, juice, and Gatorade. And that type of
Question, is it much like the soccer field that's on Northeast 2nd Avenue on about 24th or so Street near the credit union and the school board building? Is it like made of turf, like the,
Yes, it's artificial turf.
okay, so it's similar to one of those indoor but outdoor
Exactly.
type of soccer
Exactly,
fields?
exactly.
Okay, and will there be birthday parties and that kind of
Well,
thing?
depends. We first of all we want to focus only on the programs, but obviously it could be an option definitely to accommodate wherever that is for the families and everything like that.
Why don't you explain
Okay.
how you operate in the
All right,
Oh.
hold on a second.
Yes.
Hold on, Mr. McDermott. Before we move on, it's fair to let the records reflect that Miss Peggy Boulay and Miss Donna Magloire Fenelon have joined us. Okay, so now you can ask your question, Mr. McDermott.
Go ahead.
Obviously, there's some parking issues here. You know, I just, if you take a look at the land and your plans, you're gonna be really cramped for parking, and I know we have a letter from an adjoining property owner who has concerns about that. So, did you see the letter that came?
No, I don't think so. Well, regarding the parking, we are putting our own parking inside the property that we are leasing. So we won't, right now, our layout is that the parking is inside.
They have 262 at-grade parking provided on the site, 262, which is more than what the code requires for that type of use.
Okay.
And then this is one of the reasons that we have the special event permit.
Right.
If there's any overflow of parking, so that has to be dealt with. They probably have to secure maybe in another site somewhere else to accommodate that parking, so there's no parking on the swales and on the city streets.
Well, but we know that that happens when we have the, you know, is there some sort of part of what we're doing here, part of their regulations, that they provide security and
No.
that kind of thing?
Yes, I mentioned that. That's part of the special event permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
we
that-
agreed on that.
So that's in place?
Yeah, that's the condition.
And if I may, the owner of the Miami Auto Museum on the contiguous parcel is the same owner as this property. So with regards to special events, we'll make all of our parking available on the Auto Museum.
Okay.
Should you get the exception, what's the timeline from when you to when you open and you're starting to play soccer?
Well, if everything goes through, you know, we're ready to move forward. You know, we're just finalizing some details on the layouts, but we can move forward as soon as we finalize that part. And we obviously do the whole process, you know, to start
Okay.
start building the thing.
Just a couple of questions. Since you say this is like 7-on-7, I'm not a big soccer knowledge person. When you have events, what do you anticipate in terms of crowd attendance?
We don't do, the business doesn't work like
Okay.
to have big events.
Okay.
That's maybe for a special, we run a business in another city in Doral, and the biggest event that we have is, for example, some Chamber of Commerce from a country, you know, that rent the whole place, and they do a tournament for one day. You know, they bring, I don't know, like 12 teams. You know, they gather in, they play, and we
And
do
move
the
on.
prices, and that's it. But our business is not to do, you know, special events.
Okay.
It's just to run, you know, everyday, you know, games for people who has their own teams and they just want to play.
A
So
place
people is
to be.
goes
Okay.
and on every hour. You know, they get in, they get out.
And you say you've been in this field for 5 years now?
I have another fields in city of Doral
In Doral?
for 5 years.
Okay.
The person who has who sent in the letter, one of the points that he made, or one of the point of concerns that he made, is that his insurance company is concerned with the fact that if someone parks on his property attending one of your events without permission and incur property damage or injury, how would that be addressed?
Well, I think we will have enough. You know, probably first of all, we don't want to have any problems with anybody. So we will be very, you know, punctual on not to have that kind of problems. And again, as Mr. David said, we will have enough infrastructure, you know, to accommodate in case of we do all those things.
I can
So
also
my suggestion would be maybe making your acquaintances with the resident or with the property owner, and probably creating some signage stating that those that are visiting your complex should only park in the designated parking spots that are reserved for your customers.
Of course, we will do it.
As the landlord's representative, I can also assure the commission that our lease requires adequate insurance coverage, which If a patron of the premises caused damage, then there would be coverage available as required by our lease.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Mr. McDermott.
I'd like to move approval.
Okay, moved by Mr. McDermott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hill. Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. McGlure-Fenelon, Ms. Boulay,
Yes.
and Ms. Hill.
An enthusiastic yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so
Thank you.
good luck, and
Thank you.
we can't wait.
Everybody's invited to the open.
Yes.
Would Hope Solo be there attending?
No, number 10.
Probably have his birthday party there. We've actually been looking for
All right.
soccer stadium with the turf.
That'll be nice for the neighborhood.
My son has allergies,
Oh,
so
there's a
we
beautiful-
try to play on
Uh-huh.
fields that have that turf.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
All right, our next case, if we're ready, V-8-15, which is for a proposed childcare. What's the address on there?
12310.
There it is. Ah, I'm too old. 12310 West Dixie Highway. Thank you.
Good evening again, members of the Board of Adjustment, people in attendance, colleagues. This is another special exception, but this time for proposed childcare in the C3 district, which is the downtown. It's right behind the shopping center, but in the back of the Presidente supermarket. And the applicant present here and is attempting to open a childcare facility on one of the tenant space there, the one facing a 4th Avenue and West Dixie Highway. I mean, not Dixie Highway, next to the car wash. The use is permitted not by right, but as a special exception use in that district. So we have reviewed this application under the criteria set forth in Article 3, Division 5, Section 3-504. And in the application has complied with most of those standards, and staff has made a recommendation for approval for this item, and then with some minor, conditions that our driveway along Northeast 4th Court be improved with both sign and pedal stop controls in order to provide safe ingress and egress to the parking area behind the childcare center. And of course, that a certificate of use, be obtained from CPND upon compliance with all the terms and conditions of this approval. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant,
The applicant
Ms.
has-
Tisdale? Okay.
My name is Charnel Tisdale, 5101 Southwest 23rd Street from West Park, Florida. I am trying to open up a childcare and learning center in North Miami for ages 6 weeks to 4 years old. My goal is to provide a safe and happy environment for these children and also a learning environment for these children. I am a young woman trying to start her own business. I have done training and learning in this since I was 16 years old, and I just want to provide a safe place for these children in North Miami.
And the gentleman?
Is within the power of your
Excuse me.
My name is Alan Bennis with Horizon Properties in Miami, Florida. I had a power of attorney for the landlord, MMG Colonial Holdings, LLC, at that specific address. We lease and manage the shopping center and have been working extensively with Ms. Tisdale, her family, and planning committee to do this use. Little backstory on the property: we've owned it for approximately almost 3 years. Since taking over ownership of the property, we have actively gone about trying to lease the West Dixie corridor with retail uses since West Dixie Highway is shut down at 125th Street, it has been extremely difficult. Thus, this use we thought would be the perfect use for the said property, to gain, you know, some movement in that portion of the wing. As far as Horizon Properties go, we lease and manage over 2.5 million square feet, roughly a little over 30 shopping centers in Miami-Dade and Broward counties. And in most of those, we do have child care facilities that are a great co-tenant to all of our properties.
Okay. Public hearing? Anyone for or against? All right. Board discussion. Go ahead, Ms. Gorin.
Where do you propose the children to be let off by their parents when they come to this facility? I don't see a drop-off area.
I plan to use the back door, which is actually in the back of the facility, and it would also be fenced in from the parking lot. So it'll be a gate at the front and then a gate leading towards the door, where no car will be able to get to them and no child will be able to run off.
So is there a way in to get out, or do you have to make a U-turn, and do you have a circle or something? I mean,
I'm sorry, it's hard for me to explain. If you were to leave the parking lot, you would actually be able to take a left and actually get out to Fourth Court.
okay.
And that would take you back out to a main road.
And will the front door be locked so no one could stop off at West Dixie Highway?
Yes.
Question.
This is a blow outside, so we can see, you know.
I don't see where the traffic is.
I see fence, but
I see a fence there, that's
Yeah.
why I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
it's okay.
Are you,
Are you installing new fencing and gates, or is it what is existing on the property
There will be new fences and new gates. There's
Okay.
nothing in that area.
right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
question?
May I add that
Yes.
that those gates will have cement bollards around them. So in case a car were to go through a gate, those bollards would stop and protect the kids.
Have you met with DCF?
I have not met with DCF since going on this plan. I am aware of all of their requirements that they do need, though.
Okay, are you planning on receiving CDS or any of those funds, VPK, anything like that?
Yes.
Okay, so you do know that they have their own set of requirements that you would need for the facility as well?
Yes.
So at some point, my question to you, Nixon, would be if she meets with DCF and VPK, CDS, and all those other entities that she can receive funds from to accept students, if they find something on the property or in the property that she has to either improve on or create structure for, then would she have to come before us again?
No, not necessarily, because once you use it, this hearing tonight is to establish the use. So
Okay.
any other requirements, you know, as you know, maybe coming from DCF, before they can get their certificate of use and business tax, they would have to provide all those licenses from DCF for
And-
them to operate.
And actually, I hear what Ms. Boulay is saying, but DCF licensing is really your very first one. With the Early Learning Coalition, the requirements in terms of what they require for school readiness and VPK, school readiness being what they used to call CDS.
No, I know what it is.
Excuse me?
No, I know what it is.
No. What I'm saying is, they don't put too much requirement in terms of letting the provider know in terms of their environment, because that gets defaulted to DCF. And when I see cases like that come in front of me, I'd like to make sure that the applicant has gone through the process, because you can have a great idea, but DCF comes in and say, and I'd hate to, for you to be spending money, because
Yeah.
we've seen many applicants come before us in this type of situation where they've spent money and they can't open. One of my concerns, I don't see a playground. Are you doing playground?
Yeah, that's what I was
And
gonna
is it being
That's what I was
considered,
gonna ask.
where would it be? Or is it considered like urban? Are you providing it inside? I mean, and that's one of the things that DCF, and that will keep you from getting a license.
A playground will be created on the back side of the building. It's a 47 by, I believe, 25-foot space that will have fencing, it would have boulders, it will have the neoprene, it will have toys to play with, riding tricycles, small jungle gyms that aren't maybe 4 feet high.
Okay, so I guess we both pretty much want to make sure we caution you with that. This is a great idea. I love empowering our young people to go out and start their own businesses. I'm always saying there is money to be made here in these United States. Entrepreneurship right now, it's where it's at. We love for young business owners and people with ambition and dreams to come into our city and just build infrastructure meaningful infrastructure into our city to grow our residents and to provide, just like you said, a safe, fun learning environment for our children to grow in. However, we do want to caution you and just make you aware of the fact that DCF really, they are sticklers.
And I see you're
especially-
anticipating 40 to 60 children. You may think that that's what you can get. And I don't know, do you operate something in the Perrine area already, or this would be your first?
This
Right.
would be my first
Your
one.
first,
Yes.
because when DCF comes in there, we may think the place is big, but when they're looking at is 35, if I know it offhand, it's, 45 square feet
Yes,
inside and
and
35 square feet outside. So that's not counting your bathroom, your kitchen, your office, and your hallway. So they're 40 to 60, yeah, get them in there. And you're representing the owner. One of the things that I hate to see happens to folks, and I know Mr. Galdas, I'm lecturing, but I do this for a living in terms of preparing folks in the early childhood field and getting whatever the arrangement is, please make sure is contingent upon DCF, because
Yes.
for you to spend all this out and it does not go through, I would hate for that to happen,
Yes.
okay? All right.
And if I might note, if I might note, we have seen that happen before.
Oh, yeah.
And it would really be a shame to, for that to happen to you. Because we have seen people come that, are like you, who are empowering and want to do the good things for kids, and then because of regulations, they get shut down and aren't able to do it. And it's a loss of services to the children and a disappointment to you.
Inexpensive.
And expensive. Ms. Hill, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You've
That's
been
okay.
waiting.
No problem. I have some questions about it. First of all, what is the term of the lease that you're trying to get into?
The term of the lease would be 5 years.
5 years. Because I think this area is also on the community redevelopment plan, and there's going to be a lot of changes coming to that area. I don't know if it'll start in the next 5 years, or if, I'm not sure what the timeline for beginning that is, but I know there's a lot of changes coming to that particular area. The second thing I wanted to ask is, you said you're from West Palm Beach?
West Park.
West Park,
Yes.
okay. I'm actually not familiar where that is, because I'm
It's
fairly
actually-
new.
I thought it was Perrine. It's right after County Line Road. It's a little area going up 441. Yeah.
Okay. Do you plan on being at the facility full-time, or just being an owner, or hiring a manager?
I plan on being operator, owner, and director.
Okay. And I have 2 little children, so I know what daycares are like at 5 o'clock, and well, starting about 7:30 in the morning, and then again at 5 o'clock. It's a revolving door of parents and cars coming through. It gets really congested. Those are also prime times for grocery shopping. So we've got the Presidente parking lot being very congested. Yeah, I know it's in the back, but that parking lot cuts through right by Jimmy's Diner. So as parents are coming in, is there sufficient parking for all of them? I had my kids at a daycare that the parking situation was not thought out properly. And so what occurred was there's back-to-back cars all the way into the road. So what do you plan to do to create a flow during those prime times?
I do believe that there is enough parking. If there is not, then I would have to be able to get the children in and out quicker. The sign in and sign out process is very easy, so it should not take long for them to sign in and sign out. Though in the beginning, learning who the parents are, learning who the pickup people are, they would have the show ID, but once getting to know them, it should be a lot quicker.
Okay, and then finally, I wanted to know what your plan is to secure the front and the back so that the facility is very secure. People can't be coming in and out unauthorized. Children cannot be getting out of the facility. For instance, what type of security system are you going to use?
Currently, in the front of the space, they're all roll-down cages in the interior of the space, which can be left shut at night. Obviously, a door would have to be open during the day, but all of the windows could remain, shut theoretically.
Also, another piece of information wanted to provide to you, more so suggestion than anything. We were just discussing the parking situation in the back, where we noticed that you somewhat share a back parking lot with the Presidente supermarket. And I know most of the time, well, this looks like a drop-off point for their delivery trucks. So maybe you guys can talk to them about what their times of delivery are so that it doesn't interfere with the children coming in.
The delivery point is actually gated off at the moment, so it's not even, basically contiguous. There's no access to the delivery station.
I don't know, we see that here. I don't know, because the picture that we're looking at, there are several trucks on the back end of the parking lot.
Correct, there are trucks, however, it is gated off.
Okay. Okay.
That's the car wash.
And that might be the car wash.
That may be the car wash? No, yeah, the car wash is here. This is Presidente right here. No, we're.
Yeah, those trucks, that's all gated off.
Fourth court, and then here's Presidente, here's 125th. So.
Is there a gate there now, or is there a gate there in this picture?
In this picture, you see the parking field. The cars to the north of the painted parking, there is a gate in between that and the rest of the parking field for the property.
Can you turn it, does that affect the parking or the permits?
And it wraps around the entire building.
My biggest concern is the description of the playground behind the facility. Looking at this document, I'm just not seeing where you can fit in the playground. Maybe I'm not visioning it right, yeah. So where would this go?
She probably has to change the entranceway to the door.
We have to do it on the.
Are you going to change the entranceway?
The playground would go from, 3-4 feet off of the building, 25 feet up, 45 and a half feet out, and then another 25 feet back to the building.
So
Right.
are you going to change the entranceway to accommodate the playground?
The
Is that what he
entranceway
said?
will be in the back. The gate will be, there will be a gate separating the playground from the entrance, and then the entrance onto the door.
Okay. Oh, that's what the new one would look like. Yeah. Oh, okay.
So this would be your current chain link fence that was built, 25, 37.7, and another 25, and then looks like there would be a double gate system there to get to the front door with access into the playground area.
What type of
Right, it would
fence
be
are
through the
you
rear door.
thinking of building?
It will be a 6-foot chain link, 4 to 6 foot chain link fence.
There is an entrance here, and then they can come around. This should be per code for two-way traffic. So they come in here and around and then out, or vice versa, around this center strip.
This here is where your trucks for Presidente are.
Correct, where the chain link fence is here. The trucks come in here to deliver to Presidente on the side here, and then this would be just south of that.
One way in and one way out for drop offs.
How about one way in and one way out?
Yeah, we were just saying that.
That
yeah.
we can probably configure as well.
Yeah, I mean, it can go both ways, but
Absolutely.
for pickup and drop-offs, maybe you guys should, I don't know, create signage or what have you, but make sure it's one way in and one way out for drop-offs and pickups.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We would definitely work with them, as long as, you know, the rest of the co-tenants can obviously get out through the rear of their spaces as well. So,
Well, like during the course of the day, it could be
Right.
utilized both ways, just for
Correct.
pickups and drop-offs,
Absolutely.
maybe, yeah.
yeah, we would work with
do
them in
that,
any way.
yeah.
So there is access to the rest of the rear of all the buildings, the rest of the shopping center for all the rest of the tenants here, but there is still access. Yes, that is open access, and it currently is.
The only problem I have is, we're talking about how it's gonna work in the future. There doesn't seem to be any formalized plan of how they're gonna do it. We're like going by the seat of our pants right now. In other words, there's no real plan of, you know, how we're gonna get them in, how we're gonna, is it one way in, one way out? You understand what I'm saying? We're just sort of saying, well, we'll figure it out. Well, I don't think that DCS is gonna figure, I mean, we're gonna have to take something very definitive to them, I would think.
Well, let me just say, we are discussing this, and I think it's for purposes of, is the use allowable? But trust me, when DCF comes in there, they're going to go over and look at all of this. And if it's not, if they cannot prove that it can be done and children can be safe, they will not be issued a license. So, you know, I think these are great recommendations that we make in terms of one way in, one way out during peak, you know, drop off and pick up time and things like that. But, you know, bottom line, we can say all that we want, but it's DCF that has the last word as to whether or not they can really operate there.
So just, you know, as we stated before, you know, the suggestion is, I encourage it, I welcome it. I'm not sure what the rest of our board members feel about it. I myself, I'm in education as well, and our facility has a preschool and a grade school, so I definitely know what the scrutiny that you will have to go through. Matter of fact, Mr. Sam was over there yesterday. So, yeah. So, and you'll be meeting him too. Good luck with that. He's a stickler. He's very,
Don't
very serious
scare
about
her.
his job. But, you know, we do encourage you to move forward with it. Just be cautious, be aware. of all of these, regulations and things of that nature. You seem to be very accommodating to her. So hopefully you guys can work well with each other in the future and really get this thing going. We just would have rather have seen more concrete evidence as to what exactly you would have been doing with the facility, but I guess that'd be up to DCF.
Yeah, and actually, she's doing the one step that I tell my students to do. Go to the zoning and figure out whether or not you can get it done, and then DCF will tell you, yes or no, this is, how should I say, a proper use, or in that case, that it's allowable in there. So,
Okay, if I may, Madam Chairman?
go ahead.
To staff, LeBron, so you all have recommended this, correct? That this go forward? Charnel, we don't want to hold you up, but we don't want to discourage you, but there's some reality. So in the light of not trying to hold you up, because you're going to have to go through a whole nother process, Madam Chairman, I would recommend upon the recommendation of staff that we approve the proposal, the item.
I want to just say, I'm not totally comfortable with the chain link fence idea. I would like to propose that as a condition of the approval. That area is really quite industrial and not so safe. I don't think as a parent I would feel comfortable with my children's play area being only secured off by a chain link
Well,
fence in that industrial area.
It won't be, Ms. Hill. There will be bollards on the interior of the chain link fence, cement bollards that cars can't go around.
And they
And
have to
can
have
people
that
see the
anyway.
children through this
Yeah, there
fence?
should be some kind
Is there
of
going to be a
vegetation.
barrier from people who are just loitering outside of Presidente? Trust me, I live there. I live right by Presidente.
Sure.
So I know that things are going to rise up in North Miami. I have faith. But right now, if my children were there, and I try to think of that, not just my children, but all children here, I would want some kind of barrier from people who are just loitering out behind a largely abandoned strip mall from viewing your children.
There will be a border covering the fence, an all-black border that will black out the children being able to see out and anybody seeing in.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what most shopping, I
I
call them
just want to make
strip
sure
malls.
that that's a condition.
Yeah.
We could include your suggestion into,
Well,
in
that's
the,
what I was going to say. I was going to amend my motion to include
Like condition.
Laura's condition that, that we have the chain link fence.
Blacked out.
Blacked out.
an opaque fence to block the view that you're concerned about.
It's not necessarily opaque, it's those fabric that they put mesh.
Whatever
It's
barrier
either
from the
black or
children
green.
from
And that's
outside
what
view.
happens in most strip mall shopping centers where the childcare centers are like that. I know I've visited one down in the southwest, and there is a Presidente in that shopping center, and they've put the pilings where, even the trucks, when they come in, there's no way they can come
Yeah.
close to the kids.
So I amend my-
then, I would hope, also, there would be somebody present with those kids while they're playing out there.
Oh, of course. Just be shut down.
But Madam Chairman, I
You've
amend
made
my-
a
I amend my
motion and seconded by Ms. Boulay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Milgore-Fenelon.
Yes, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank
Yes, a lot.
Child care centers are very, very difficult to run. You already heard from educators that it is a lot of regulation. You're dealing with people's children. You say that this is your first. So it's going to be a very daunting task. But I applaud you, and I wish you great, great luck.
Ms. Boulay,
Yes, with pleasure. Yes, congratulations.
Ms. Hill.
Ms. Hill?
Yes. And I will look forward to coming and checking it out, as you'll be a new neighboring business to me.
And use the resources available to you. The
Yes.
United Way has great things,
Yes.
great relationship
Yes,
with the
yes, yes.
child care providers in Miami-Dade. And of course, you got to get to know the Early Learning Coalition.
Yes.
Okay?
Head Start's another good one.
Teach those kids to be good stewards of our city.
I will, thank you very much.
We need them.
Thank you, Board.
All
Good
right.
luck, guys.
God bless you.
Okay.
God bless you. All righty. You'll be fine.
All right. Old business?
I don't plan on having kids, but I'll stop by.
I'll wait.
Well, you may change your mind.
I have one.
Two boys.
Mr. LeBrun, any old business?
No, nothing else.
Any
No.
new business?
New business. No.
Okay, well, there was one.
I always
Go ahead.
forget, I'm sorry. There was a new member appointed last night, for the Board of Adjustment. I think it's Mr. Rodney Deramo.
As an alternate?
No, as a sitting member, as a regular member.
Who is he replacing?
Mr. Daniel Calixte.
Excuse me?
Mr. Daniel
It
Calixte.
was a vacant position.
Vacant position.
Oh, okay.
But
Ah,
I think
these folks are
I'm
in
the
that.
alternate.
Yeah, you're the alternate.
Okay.
With Ms. Irvin, the other two
Now he has
alternates.
some testosterone.
No, but,
On the board that I sit on,
Planning
the other
commission.
board, I'm the only female.
oh.
Okay.
The planning?
Planning commission.
Yeah.
Good luck. Daddy can do all of this. I'm only doing one. But to go back, some of you, there was an applicant for a child care center. At one time, I think they were trying to do it right off, I want to say, between 7th Avenue. You remember? It was an old
Oh,
rundown
130,
home.
33, 7.
Mm-mm.
Oh, no,
An
that's
old
another.
rundown home. Well, it was. So that didn't go through, but they came back to us and they opened off of 125th and I want to say 10th Avenue. I visited her for some other things that I'm recruiting her for trainings and stuff. And they're struggling because they went in there thinking, and I think they were given a license for, I want to say 29, less than 30 kids, and trust me, in this business, if you don't have at least
Your
50,
clientele.
it's hard to make it.
Yeah.
Right now, they're having a lot of trouble too, even like the established temples now that have young childhood centers. They're now competing against the schools that are required to have early childhood. And all of a sudden, that's free.
Yep.
And it's much, much younger. And they never had trouble before, and now they are starting to have problems. So it's a hard business to break into.
And in location.
And you
Yeah,
have-
location,
and
doing
don't
your-
break
your-
even, you
your
have to take
homework.
a lot of
Your
people
homework.
out.
Right, but you gotta know how to get them.
Mhm.
That's the thing. You need a grant writer
Yeah, because
on your staff.
Yeah, but many of them are not, they're not nonprofit, they are for-profit. And one of the things I tell them is that open up, start a nonprofit branch. It doesn't mean that you can't run your business. You know, you can still.
They have to be top level.
Anyway, all right,
Those are children.
adjournment,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
I seconded.
All right.
All right.
And no meeting, September.
No meeting September?
No, I said no meeting next month.
Right.
Next meeting in September.
September.
Better be because I'm gonna be in Haiti.
Okay, so September it is.
Yeah, because I get on a
Right,
plane on the
yes, every-
1st.
September it is.
Ooh, I'm announcing it.
You'll be in Haiti during the meeting?
It's my time for mission work.
Fine, I'm
Yeah,
here.
I
I'm the
go to
alternate.
No,
I'm
Toby-
always here. I'm
they'll be
always
back.
here. I'm kind of a
Every
diehard.
2 months.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
should be
Yeah,
September
it will
anyway.
be September.
Well, good luck with your missionary work.
Yeah, it's our 3rd annual camp in Gangwave, Haiti.